You're a controlling cunt. Cole's parting shot echoed through our main floor as he slammed the front door behind him. Silence rushed back into the kitchen. Neat rows of glassware and spotless counters gleamed under the recessed lighting, appliances lined up like evidence. He preferred it this way. The entire main floor read like an interrogation room curated by someone who believed comfort was a crime. My fingertips twitched toward the space on the right hip where my gun used to sit. The phantom weight of the badge dragged at the waistband. Fuck me. I'm done with this bullshit. I never thought I'd let anyone speak to me like that and keep breathing the same air. Midnight usually involved staring at the ceiling and waiting for his heart to fail. The idea of his last breath was the only thing able to soothe the recoil humming beneath my skin. It hadn't always been this way. After Cole and I got married, he took care of my twin boys, Finn and Steven, while I spent 3 months at the police academy. A law degree collected dust anyway, so why not become a cop? Those early years blurred together. Late-night takeout, weekend camping trips with the boys. Everything splintered the year I was promoted to homicide detective. Tougher cases and endless hours melted nights into mornings, widening the distance between home and the precinct until it nearly tore. Birthdays vanished, dinners were missed, holidays gathered dust. "Start acting like a Barrington," Cole sneered whenever I showed up late to an event or a football game. My hair was windblown, my clothes wrinkled, my badge and gun still on my belt. Sometimes I smelled like stale coffee, cigarettes, and gun oil. He conditioned me into believing I was the problem and that working made me a negligent mother. In Cole's opinion, it also meant each shift I spent fighting for justice for another family took time and love away from our own. I wasn't schmoozing football moms, flattering coaches, or volunteering for every pointless fundraiser they dreamed up. A luxury travel bus for high school kids? This was the hill they wanted me to die on. I called it excessive. They called me difficult. The passive-aggressive smiles and side-eyes stacked up until I was cornered in my own life. So I quit. Years of training and commitment, a life built on blood and grit, evaporated. The only career with real meaning. Over. Well, technically I quit after putting a bullet through the break room floor. A male coworker had questioned my stability. My trigger finger responded before my brain did. The captain was pissed, but instead of pressing charges, he sent me to anger management. I went from Detective Suffield to Mrs. Barrington overnight, a housewife with no mission and no gun. To keep rumor mills quiet, Cole and I performed. Friday night lights, plastic smiles at luncheons, high-end fundraisers with hollow wine toasts. We held hands when people watched, kissed when expected. Behind closed doors, I choked on the silence. With Finn and Steven away at football camp, I finally had time to think. It might be the start of summer, but their senior year was already looming. Scouts would be circling, scholarships would be on the line. My boys' future mattered more than my happiness. Mine could wait 1 more year. I remembered the last conversation the boys and I had. Before climbing in, Finn tossed his last piece of gear into the Wrangler and turned to me, chewing the inside of his cheek. "Are you going to be okay?" "I'll be fine," I assured him. "Promise me you'll enjoy this summer." He paused, helmet in hand, choosing his next words carefully. "If Dad makes you miserable, you don't have to stay because of us. Next year we'll both be at university." Steven peered around the driver's side. "Finn's right. Cole's been a total dick to you these last few years. Steven Lee Barrington, that's Dad to you." He shrugged. "Technically, we don't know who our father is." They didn't, but I did, and it was a sealed vault I didn't plan on cracking anytime soon.
"Give it some thought while we're gone," Finn added. "Team Mom all the way." I pulled them in. "I love you guys so freaking much." My voice cracked as I said it. "Go hit the field, learn new skills, have a blast, and don't worry about a thing." Caroline and I stood in my driveway, watching Finn's new black Jeep rumble away. Stephen rode shotgun, and her nephew, Drew, slouched in the back. The lifted Wrangler rattled on its frame, stereo thumping. The doors and roof were stowed in a little utility trailer Finn towed. Completely unnecessary, and exactly the type of vehicle Cole thought teenage boys should drive. He called it tough. For Cole, it was always about image, never practicality.
"It's so nice seeing them drive together," Caroline said, dabbing at the corner of her eye. "Last football camp as young men. God help me, I'm already a mess." She crossed the driveway, trudged through a thin patch of grass between our properties, muttering under her breath. Caroline was my best friend and neighbor, the closest thing I had to a sister. She was a woman capable of delivering a truth bomb with a laugh, and she never hesitated to wade into my mess, even when I'd rather drown in it alone. One day later, the house sat hollow. As the sun filtered through the curtains, the silence crawled through every lie I'd told to keep myself upright. I could survive this marriage if I kept a low profile, letting excuses take the place of honesty. Cole's finances were his businesses, but charges kept appearing that made no sense. I let them slide because he'd promised to handle everything, and I'd agreed not to look too closely. I was wrong to trust him. I poured a glass of chilled rosé, retreated onto the sun-baked terrace, and lit a cigarette. Part of me wondered what life would look like without Cole, without the money and the security he offered. If I were to go back to work, could I afford to put the boys through university and pay for a place of my own? What if leaving Cole derailed everything my sons had worked so hard for? The spiral in my brain knifed into a headache. I pinched the bridge of my nose, tilting my head down. A single weed had pushed through the stone's crevice, so I crouched and pulled it before Cole got home and noticed. Perfection looked expensive. The yard gleamed with its polished stone, clipped shrubs, and curated stillness, a postcard for people who needed to believe in perfect lives. Inside, I walked to the foyer and bent to retrieve my phone from the foot of the winding staircase leading to the bedrooms upstairs. It was cracked, courtesy of this morning's fight. "Asshole," I spat. "Who's the asshole?" Caroline swept in through the front door. "I'll give you one guess," I said, holding up the broken screen. "Drink?" "At 9 a.m.?" she laughed. "Always." I lined 2 whiskey shots along the kitchen island, sliding one over to her. "You had another fight," she said, her voice dropping the playfulness. "Always," I echoed. "You need to leave him," Caroline said. "I will, after the boys graduate." "A year?" She knocked back her shot. "Luna, would you ruin Drew's senior year?" I cut her off. Her silence said everything. She studied me, jaw set, and then pulled me into a hug. "Be careful. I don't trust Cole." "I don't either. Now go to work. I have laundry to do." Lie. I wanted my quiet back. I followed Caroline to the foyer. She turned, her expression softening. "I miss having you around the station. Are you sure you can't come back to work?" A sharp exhale pushed through the nose. "We've talked about this." "Fine." The door clicked shut behind her. By early evening, the clean laundry was folded into stacks. My phone rested on the counter, screen newly replaced. The sun dipped lower, casting shadows on the corners of the house. The kitchen's white glow cut through the dim living room, bleeding onto the fabric of the sectional. Heavy footsteps hammered against the foyer tile. Here we go, I sighed, muttering to myself. The fight wasn't over, and I was still pissed he'd called me a cunt. Luna? His tired voice carried through the foyer as he stepped deeper into the open space. He dropped his keys on the credenza, rubbing his temples. God damn it, you couldn't leave well enough alone, could you? Had to start snooping this morning? You ruined my whole day. My glare locked onto his voice, tracking him into the kitchen. Are you serious? I ruined your day? I asked a simple question about our finances. It's my job to provide, Cole said, taking a step closer toward me as he crossed past the island, stubbing his big toe on the wooden stool. God damn it, he kicked it aside. If you're bored, find something else to do. Stay out of the accounts. My lips pulled back into a brittle smile, carrying all the warmth of a morgue slab. Great, I'll go back to work and make my own money again. His features hardened. Anything but that stupid idea. You went through my personal and business accounts. That's not trusting, it's intrusive. The comment lit me up. I missed having a purpose. What the fuck else am I supposed to do? When he didn't answer me, I continued. Trade my spine for a seating chart and a fundraiser committee? I held his stare. When it comes to our money, trust is a two-way street, or is this too much math for you? You don't know what you're talking about. Leave it to me. I raised a brow. Yeah, clearly you're killing it. Cash withdrawals, charges I've never heard of. Should I assume you're buying new friends, or is this some secret expense? His jaw locked. Don't push me. Right, I wouldn't want to rattle your manly kingdom. His glare burned. Enough, he yelled. I will not tolerate your disrespect. Tolerate my disrespect? A bitter laugh scraped my throat. You struggle with far simpler things. The gap between us vanished. You ungrateful bitch. His hand raised. This life, your car, your closet, as well as this house, I gave it all to you. My sweat, my sacrifice. Go ahead. I fucking dare you. If your hand makes contact, I swear it will be the last fucking thing you ever do. I stared him down, teeth bared. He walked away, grabbed a beer from the fridge, and gulped half of it. I gave you a chance at a new life. No, you gave me your life and never asked what I wanted. I quit my career for this family. Cole scoffed. You're your mother's daughter, never fucking satisfied. The words split me open, because behind his sneer, I heard hers. Marriage is about stability, Luna. Love, that emotion is fleeting. And hadn't I lived it? Not by choice, not really. Love had nothing to do with my marriage. Survival did. 2 toddlers, no money, no roof, only exhaustion and the memory of being shoved out of my mother's house with a law degree in one hand and diapers in the other. Had my mother stood beside me instead of slamming the door in my face? If she'd accepted, no, if the man I loved had stayed, I wouldn't be in this situation. Cole stormed out, beer in hand. The door hissed shut behind him, sealing him out and me in. My eyelids pressed together, blocking out the sterile room. Reaching low, I dragged the cutting board from its slot, then opened the knife drawer and tried to focus on dinner, but my thoughts had teeth. They gnawed until the knife blurred in my hand. Cole stumbled back, gasping, hands clutching his throat. Blood poured from a wide, clean slit across his neck. Light flooded back in when I blinked. A dark, terrifying satisfaction uncoiled in my gut. Ah, there she is.
The whisper slithered through the back of my mind, a ghost I hadn't heard in years, still pretending this is survivable. My inner liar was the voice lurking in the darkness of my mind, and she was my own worst critic.
30 minutes had passed, and the house phone rang, slicing through the tension. I wiped my hands on a rag and reached for the cordless phone. Hello? The voice on the other end was low, a soft Australian drawl, smoky enough to make my chest ache. Luna? My grip tightened around the receiver. It's me, Patrick, he said softly. My hand opened, the phone thudding against the island. My breath seized in my lungs as the realization landed. The way he said my name, the way he sucked in air and exhaled in my ear, I could almost taste him. I heard Cole come inside from the yard. Well, who is it? Cole scooped up the phone, glancing at the caller ID. Patrick, he said, grinning. You caught me as I was scrolling through flights. His name echoed, dragging up 17 years of ghosts. Cole slipped back outside. I couldn't make out the words, but his body language screamed a storm was coming.
The patio door slid open again. He popped his head in. Luna, Patrick's flying in this weekend. He'll be here tomorrow afternoon. There it was, the eye of the storm closing in on my carefully constructed life. I smoothed my face, summoned the performance I'd perfected for years. That's nice. It's been a minute. Cole retreated, still talking on the phone, most likely planning the first big barbecue party of the season. For the first time in years, I didn't know what I wanted more, Patrick's return or his continued absence. I tried not to think of him, ever. After dinner, I carried the plates to the sink and, through the window, watched Cole haul out tables, chairs, lights, and a ladder. He was in full-on entertainer mode. In this house, the calendar was split down the middle. There was football season, and there was the sweltering stretch of summer. I loaded the dishwasher, trying to ignore the harsh scrape of furniture dragging across the patio stones. The yard rearranged itself around him, obedient as ever. When I finished cleaning up, I opened the linen closet near the guest room and reached for the towels. My fingers found a cardboard box first. Old memories scrawled in faded black marker. I'd stashed it here over a decade ago, after the boys and I moved in. I lifted the dusty cardboard lid. Inside was Patrick's old Hawks lacrosse hoodie, along with some other items I'd kept. When I lifted it, a note slipped free. Dear Luna, I don't have the right words. You were the most beautiful girl at prom, and I know it took guts to tell me you were pregnant, but I can't do this. I'm too young. I don't know how to be what you need. I'm scared that if I stay, I'll make things worse. I hope one day you can forgive me. I'll always love you. I'm sorry. Patrick. His script was unmistakable, a perfect match for the clarity of my memory. I pulled the hoodie in, burying my face in the fabric to find a trace of him, the clean, sharp bite of ocean air. There were more notes, one from my wedding, blotted and hurried, confessing he still loved me. I didn't read it this time. I didn't need to. I remembered every line by heart. I shut the box and forced the ache back inside as best I could. Some wounds are born fresh every time you look at them. In bed, I traced the shadows on the ceiling. Rolling onto my side, I closed my eyes and released a muffled sigh. Did I even want to forgive him?